We like to think of nature as a balanced, harmonious system. We watch documentaries about the circle of life, the beauty of the rainforest, or the majesty of the mountains. We tell ourselves that the natural world makes sense, that it follows a set of rules we can observe, measure, and understand. But that is a lie. The truth is, the Earth is old. Older than we can truly comprehend. And in the deep, forgotten corners of this planet, there are things that defy explanation. There are phenomena so strange, so violent, or so biologically disturbing that science often hits a brick wall, leaving us with nothing but terrifying theories. Today, we are peeling back the layers of the known world to look at the unexplainable. These are the 15 most disturbing mysteries ever revealed in nature. Let's begin. Mystery number 15. The Tunguska Event. We start at number 15 with an event that proves nature can generate apocalyptic force out of thin air. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, in the remote Podkamenia Tunguska River region of Siberia, the sky suddenly split in two. Eyewitnesses described a column of blue light moving across the heavens, nearly as bright as the sun. Moments later, an explosion occurred that was so powerful it registered on seismic stations as far away as the United Kingdom. This wasn't a small bang. This was a blast estimated to be 1,000 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. It flattened 80 million trees over an area of 2,150 square kilometers. The shockwave knocked people off their feet 40 miles away and shattered windows hundreds of miles from the epicenter. But here is the disturbing part. There was no crater. For decades, scientists expected to find a massive impact site, a hole in the earth where a meteor or asteroid struck. But expeditions to the site found nothing but flattened forest, the trees stripped of their branches, lying in a radial pattern pointing away from the center. At the very epicenter, the trees were still standing upright, stripped completely bare like telephone poles, scorched by intense heat. To this day, the Tunguska event is classified as an airburst, theorized to be a stony asteroid that exploded before hitting the ground. But because no significant fragments were ever found, fringe theories have run wild for a century, ranging from a miniature black hole passing through the Earth to the crash of an alien spacecraft. Whatever it was, it proved that nature can wipe out a major city in the blink of an eye, without leaving a single trace of the weapon. Mystery number 14. The Rat King. At number 14, we move from the cosmic scale down to the biologically grotesque. This is perhaps one of the most visceral and repulsive phenomena in the animal kingdom. The Rat King. Folklore often speaks of the Rat King as a singular, giant monster, but the reality is much worse. A rat king occurs when a group of rats become inextricably tangled together by their tails. This happens when the animals are crowded into tight, confined spaces, usually during winter, and their tails become stuck together due to blood, dirt, ice, or excrement. As the rats panic and pull away from each other to escape, the knot only tightens. They are trapped. Historically, rat kings were viewed as a terrible omen, a harbinger of the plague. And logically, this makes sense. Seeing a cluster of distressed, dying rats would usually indicate a massive infestation nearby. But the horror lies in the biology of it. These animals do not die immediately. They live, sometimes for a long time, forced to move as a singular, writhing mass of fur and claws. They grow together. Museums in Europe, specifically in Germany and France, actually possess preserved specimens of rat kings. The largest well-known specimen was found in 1828 in a chimney in Buchholz, Germany, consisting of 32 rats. Their mummified bodies are a frozen testament to a slow, agonizing death. It is a glitch in nature's design, a moment where biology fails and creates a living nightmare. Mystery number 13. The Devil's Kettle. Number 13 takes us to the northern shore of Lake Superior in Minnesota, to a geological mystery that has frustrated hydrologists for decades. It is known as the Devil's Kettle. Along the Brule River, the water hits a massive outcropping of rhyolite rock and splits in two. The eastern half of the river tumbles over a standard 50-foot waterfall and continues downstream. That is the normal part. The western half of the river, however, falls into a large pothole, a hole in the rock, and simply vanishes. For years, people have asked the obvious question: where does the water go? It has to come out somewhere. It likely flows underground and rejoins the river, or empties into Lake Superior. So, researchers tried to prove it. They poured industrial dyes into the hole, waiting to see the color appear in the lake. It never showed up. They tried dumping hundreds of ping-pong balls into the devil's kettle, expecting them to bob up somewhere along the shore. Not a single ball was ever recovered. They even tried using GPS trackers. Nothing. According to the laws of geology, there should be no infinite caves or massive hollow spaces in that type of hard, volcanic rock. The water is entering the earth, pushing massive volume every single second, and seemingly disappearing from our reality. While recent theories suggest the water might just be rejoining the stream from below the water table where we can't see it, the fact remains, anything you throw into the devil's kettle is never seen again. Mystery number 12. The exploding toads of Hamburg. Number 12 is a mystery that sounds like a biblical plague, but it happened as recently as 2005. In the Altena district of Hamburg, Germany, people enjoying the park began to witness something horrific. Toads in the local pond were crawling onto land, swelling up to nearly 4 times their normal size, and then literally exploding. This wasn't an isolated incident. Over the course of a few days, more than 1,000 toads met this gruesome fate. The explosion was violent enough to launch their internal organs several feet away. The area was dubbed the Pond of Death, and it was quickly quarantined by police. Was it a virus? A fungus? Toxic waste dumped in the water? German scientists were baffled. They tested the water quality. It was clean. They tested the toad remains for known diseases. Negative. The mystery deepened as the death toll rose. It seemed as though the toads' bodies were simply rebelling against them. Finally, a leading Berlin veterinarian discovered the gruesome answer. It wasn't a disease. It was a predator. The local crows had learned a new trick. Crows are incredibly intelligent, and they had discovered that the toads had a toxic skin that made them inedible. However, the crows realized the livers were nutritious. The crows would swoop down, make a surgical incision, and rip out the toad's liver. In response, the toad's natural defense mechanism triggered. When threatened, toads puff themselves up to look bigger. But because they were missing their liver and the abdominal wall was breached, the pressure of puffing up had nowhere to go but out. The result was a catastrophic rupture. Nature had created a loop where a defense mechanism became a self-destruct button. Mystery number 11. Star jelly. For centuries, going back to the 14th century, people around the world have reported finding strange, translucent blobs of gelatinous matter lying on the grass. It appears suddenly, often after meteor showers, leading to the folklore belief that it is the remains of fallen stars. It looks like clear slime, sometimes with a white or yellowish tint. It evaporates quickly, usually disappearing within a few hours of being found. But when samples are taken, the mystery only gets weirder. DNA tests are often inconclusive. It isn't plant matter. It isn't animal fat. Some theories suggest it is nostoc, a type of cyanobacteria that swells up when it rains. But star jelly often appears when there has been no rain. Other, more disturbing theories suggest it is the regurgitated oviducts of frogs eaten by predators, similar to our exploding toad mystery. The idea is that predators eat the frog but vomit up the reproductive glands, which then swell with moisture. However, star jelly has been found in massive quantities in areas where there are no frogs, and even on barren rock. In 1950, four policemen in Pennsylvania found a massive disc of quivering jelly, 6 feet in diameter. When they tried to pick it up, it dissolved in their hands. Is it biological? Is it atmospheric? Or is it, as the folklore suggests, something that doesn't belong on this planet at all? Mystery number 10. Blood falls. At number 10, we travel to the coldest, most desolate continent on Earth, Antarctica. In the Taylor Valley, amidst the blinding white ice, there is a wound that never heals. It is called blood falls. For decades, explorers who saw this 5-story high crimson waterfall assumed it was red algae. But the truth is far stranger. This water is coming from a subterranean lake buried beneath the glacier for over 2 million years. It is extremely salty, preventing it from freezing, and it is loaded with iron. When this prehistoric water breaches the surface and hits the oxygen in our atmosphere, it instantly rusts, turning the ice into a gruesome scene that looks like a hemorrhaging artery. But the disturbing part isn't the color. It's what's inside. Scientists found 17 types of ancient microbes living in that water, surviving with no light, no oxygen, and trapped in a crushing, salty grave for millions of years. It proves that life can exist in alien conditions, waiting in the dark to be released. Mystery number 9. Ophiocordyceps, the zombie fungus. Number 9 brings us to the rainforest floor, for a mystery that sounds like science fiction but is terrifyingly real. We usually think of predators as animals with teeth and claws, but nature has created a predator that attacks the mind. The Ophiocordyceps unilateralis fungus. When a spore of this fungus lands on an ant, it infiltrates its body. It doesn't kill the ant immediately. Instead, it hijacks the nervous system. It chemically compels the ant to leave its colony, climb a tree, and clamp its jaws onto a leaf directly above the foraging trails of its family. Once the ant is locked in place, the fungus kills it. It then digests the ant's internal organs and erupts a long stalk from the back of the ant's head, raining deadly spores down on the colony below to start the cycle again. The ant is a prisoner in its own body, driven by a biological puppet master. And while this strain targets ants, nature has thousands of cordyceps variations. It is a grim reminder of how fragile free will really is in the animal kingdom. Mystery number 8. The boiling river. Number 8 takes us deep into the Peruvian Amazon. Legend spoke of a river so hot it could kill anyone foolish enough to swim in it. For years, geoscientists dismissed this as a myth. Geothermal rivers only exist near volcanoes, and the Amazon basin is hundreds of miles away from the nearest volcanic activity. But the legend is real. The Shanay Timpishka is a 4-mile-long river that reaches temperatures of up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. It is the only non-volcanic boiling river of its size in the world. The water is hot enough to boil small animals alive instantly. Unlucky frogs or reptiles that fall in are cooked before they can swim to shore. The mystery is the heat source. Theories suggest the water seeps deep into the earth, heats up against the geothermal gradient, and shoots back up through fault lines at incredible speed. It is a geological anomaly, a natural cauldron bubbling in the middle of the jungle, defying the map of the earth. Mystery number 7. The Hessdalen Lights. At number 7, we look to the sky. Since the 1930s, the residents of the Hessdalen Valley in Norway have lived with a disturbing presence. Strange, glowing orbs of light, sometimes as large as cars, float silently above the valley floor. They can hover for hours, or streak across the sky at incredible speeds. They show up on radar, proving they are physical objects or plasma, not hallucinations. Scientists have set up permanent monitoring stations, yet they still cannot agree on what they are. Are they ionized gases triggered by the valley's unique geology? A rare form of ball lightning? Some researchers found that the valley rocks are rich in zinc and iron on one side and copper on the other, effectively turning the valley into a giant natural battery powered by sulfuric river water. But until we know for sure, the lights continue to watch over Hessdalen, silent and unexplained. Mystery number 6. The bloop. Number 6 is the sound of the abyss. In 1997, researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, were listening for underwater volcanic activity in the southern Pacific Ocean. Their hydrophones picked up a sound that shouldn't exist. It was ultra-low frequency, incredibly loud, and the signature pattern resembled that of a living creature. They called it the bloop. The problem: the sensors were 3,000 miles apart, and the sound was detected on all of them. For a biological creature to make a sound that travels that far, it would have to be significantly larger than a blue whale, the largest animal known to ever exist. While NOAA later stated the sound was consistent with an icequake, a massive iceberg cracking and fracturing, many marine biologists remain skeptical. The sound profile had the varying frequency of a vocalization, not just a crack. It suggests that down in the crushing dark, something massive might be waking up. Mystery number 5. Lake Nyos. We enter the top 5 with one of the most tragic and terrifying events in recorded history. Lake Nyos in Cameroon sits in a volcanic crater. It looks peaceful, but on August 21, 1986, the lake turned into a silent serial killer. Without warning, the lake underwent a limnic eruption. A massive pocket of carbon dioxide had been building up at the bottom of the lake for centuries. Something, a landslide or a temperature change, triggered a release. The lake exploded, not with fire, but with gas. A cloud of invisible CO2, heavier than air, spilled over the crater rim and flowed down into the valleys below. It moved silently, extinguishing all flames and killing every living thing in its path. In just a few hours, 1,746 people and 3,500 livestock dropped dead where they stood. There was no struggle. They simply suffocated in the open air. It is a chilling reminder that nature doesn't need to attack us to kill us. It just needs to change the air we breathe. Mystery number 4. Ball lightning. Number 4 is a phenomenon that physics still cannot fully explain. Ball lightning. For centuries, sailors and homeowners have reported seeing glowing spheres of electricity, ranging from the size of a golf ball to a beach ball, appearing during thunderstorms. Unlike a lightning bolt which lasts for a millisecond, these balls float. They drift through walls, hover in living rooms, and sometimes even travel down the aisles of airplanes. They hiss. They change color. And then, they often end with a violent explosion or simply vanish, leaving behind the smell of sulfur. We have tried to recreate it in labs with limited success, but we still don't know how nature sustains a ball of plasma for that long without it dissipating. It is a wandering ghost of pure energy, totally unpredictable and potentially lethal. Mystery number 3. The Milky Seas. At number 3, we have the Milky Seas effect. Mariners have told stories for hundreds of years about the ocean turning white. Not the foam of waves, but a steady, eerie glow that stretches from horizon to horizon. In 2005, satellite imagery finally confirmed it. A patch of the Indian Ocean, roughly the size of the state of Connecticut, was glowing continuously for 3 nights. This is bioluminescence on a scale that defies logic. While we know small plankton can glow, for an area that massive to glow steadily, the concentration of bacteria would have to be astronomically high. Trillions upon trillions of organisms acting in unison. Why they do this, and how they coordinate a display that can be seen from space, remains a mystery of the deep. Mystery number 2. The Great Attractor. Number 2 takes us off-world to a mystery that is pulling us to our doom. We know the universe is expanding. Everything is moving away from everything else. Except for us. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, along with 100,000 other galaxies, is being dragged towards a specific point in space at a speed of 14 million miles per hour. Astronomers call it the Great Attractor. The terrifying part? We can't see what it is. It lies in the zone of avoidance, a region of space obscured by the gas and dust of our own galaxy. Whatever is there has a gravitational pull equivalent to a quadrillion suns. It is a monster in the dark, reeling us in across the cosmos, and we will likely never know what it is until we get there. Mystery number 1. Prion. And finally, at number 1. The most disturbing mystery in nature isn't a giant monster or a cosmic event. It is a protein. Life is built on biology. Bacteria, viruses, parasites. We can kill them. We can poison them. We can burn them. But prion are not alive. They are misfolded proteins, zombie molecules. When a prion enters a brain, it touches a healthy protein and forces it to misfold, turning it into another prion. It is a chain reaction of destruction that turns the brain into a sponge. Prion are responsible for mad cow disease and the terrifying zombie deer disease, chronic wasting disease, currently spreading through forests. Here is the nightmare. Prion are nearly indestructible. You can boil them, radiate them, or bury them in the ground for years, and they remain infectious. If a deer dies of CWD and decomposes into the soil, the grass that grows there years later can carry the prion and infect a new animal. It is a pathogen that cannot be killed because it was never alive. It is nature's ultimate glitch, and currently, there is no cure. From the bottom of the ocean to the center of our own brains, nature holds secrets that are as fascinating as they are terrifying. We map the world and name the stars, but the truth is, we are living on a planet that is still largely a mystery to us. Which of these mysteries do you find the most disturbing? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this descent into the unknown, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.